Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of our domestic violence edition here at Woman to Woman Kitchen Table Talk. It was so much to try to get through in one show that we had to break it into 2 because we talked about, how you spot the abuse, how do you feel, how do you as a victim or victor, survivor, however you see yourself at the current time, how you first of all, recognize the situation you're in, decide to leave. How do you do that? There's so many layers. And then after that, how do you survive? So there's so much to this whole story. You're vilified in the relationship. You're vilified in the public eye. It is as a victim, victor, survivor, however you again name yourself. But you have to be able to function. The abuse does not define you. It certainly is a part of your life. But then how do you move on from that? Because you have to move on, and life goes on, and we cannot wallow in it. We can't stay there. So the only way that you're going to overcome this is by really overcoming it and moving on to the next phase of your life. So we've been through the abuse. All right, we've identified some of the key points that you should pay attention to if you're in an abusive situation, because these individuals have a pattern.
Yes.
They definitely have a pattern, whether he's a binge abuser of alcohol or drugs, or whether it's just a constant situation, or there is a trigger of some kind. You've been in a relationship with this person, you've seen the signs, you've probably thought, no, because we don't want to believe the worst about anybody, right? Particularly someone that you chose to be with, because then that says, well, what
that says something about you.
That says something about you. Like, okay, my judgment is so off that I pick somebody that's going to beat the crap out of me. So there is a certain amount of shame that's associated with that too. But again, it's not your job to police somebody's behavior. That's not your job. Your job is to be the best you that you can be and bring the best you to the relationship. And it is on the other person's responsibility to be the best him that he can be. Yeah? Or her, whatever. So either way, the person's behavior is not your responsibility. It isn't. So take that out of your mind. There is nothing you did to deserve abuse. There's nothing you could have done to deserve abuse. There's nothing you could possibly think or say that could deserve abuse, short of you abusing the other person first. Right? Short of that, there's nothing that prompts a person to be in a position to abuse you, period. So please, regardless of how you may have been socialized, regardless of what you may have seen around you, abuse is not normal. It is not okay, ever, under any circumstances. Whether it's a woman hitting a man or a man hitting a woman, either way, it is not okay under any circumstance. So ladies, please don't put your hands on somebody's child. Men, don't put your hand on somebody's child. Just period. Don't do it. Keep your hands to yourself. Walk away if you have to.
If I can say, somebody once said to me, the first time I did a talk, in public about it, and they said, "Weren't you embarrassed?" I said, "I have nothing to be embarrassed about.
You didn't do
anything."
Exactly. Exactly.
I have nothing to be embarrassed about. It happened to me. I didn't do anything.
Right. Exactly.
So no, I'm not the least. I'm not the least bit embarrassed.
There's such a stigma, and in recent the Caribbean community, entertainment community, and or sphere, there's been a big brouhaha about one of the relationships, very popular relationships, Major Hype and Kirby. And what I have noticed about that whole situation is just how quickly women have been ready to tear this woman down. Hold on a second.
You don't know what she's been through.
You don't know what she's been through. You were not in that house to see what this individual was doing.
Right.
Yes, he may be funny. Yes, he may be talented, but he's an abuser if he's beating this woman up.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the one in Jamaica. The politician. Mr. Wrong, we'll call him.
Yes.
Whoa. His name is Mr. Right. He's Mr. Right. We call him Mr. Wrong. Yeah, Mr. Wrong.
Very wrong.
The police claim that the tape was not clear enough to identify him conclusively. And that the woman in question is not pressing charges and all of that. So they couldn't proceed with anything. So the rest of us, sane people are asking, if you've been accused, if the tape is out and you're beating the crap out of a woman with a stool, with your fists, with all kinds of stuff, if that's not you, why haven't you said so? Why haven't your lawyer said so? Why hasn't anybody said so? Why hasn't the victim said so?
Nobody has said it's not you.
Yeah, you haven't said it's not you. And you took leave of absence from the government after normal people like me pressure the world, pressure the whole government into making sure that something is done.
Something is done.
Right. So if that's not you, I personally don't know any man. I know enough abusers who will say, not me. So I can't imagine somebody who is not an abuser not saying it's
not me.
Right? So I know that if you were to accuse my husband, who is not an abuser,
he would
be like on top of every car shouting
no, exactly.
Shouting no. And I know abusers who shout no. So
much
if
less.
the abuser shout no, much less somebody who is not
claiming that he didn't do it.
So, well, he didn't even claim that. That's the thing. Is that he has not claimed anything.
He hasn't said
anything at all.
Wow.
You know. So
and people are jumping to this man's defense.
Yeah, a pastor jumped to his defense.
Wow.
This is why victims do not step forward.
Yes.
And when they do, they're vilified.
Yes.
By the very people who you would think would have their backs and support them, by even women.
Yes.
Why?
Basically, they're being abused behind closed doors.
And then being abused in the
public again. So
why? Again. So why? So
Why
it's
step
even
forward?
harder for women to step forward and say anything and speak about their situation, because then they have to face now the trial in the public eye. You know, and for what?
And with men,
they get a free pass.
No, and I'm looking at it as men who get abused.
Yes. Oh, men who get abused,
They
will
can't
not
talk
speak.
about it. They will not speak because then they're looked at as less than men.
Yeah, they're looked as less than men. How you make a woman beat you up? All that kind of stuff.
That won't ever. They won't.
But there are solutions, and there are solutions, but there are also things that we can do
Action
steps that we can take. I couldn't even find the right term. This is such a heavy topic.
It's heavy.
And it's a topic that I'm passionate about because it's personal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have no ill will towards a gentleman. I mean, I've spoken to him, on numerous occasions.
Wow.
Because I don't have space in my heart for malice. Because malice is going to give me cancer, not him. Although he ended up with cancer, but that's a whole different story.
You're just dead to me.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, I'll talk to you. I don't need to be in your life. But if you say hello to me, I'll say hello.
Completely off.
Yeah.
Bye.
But I'm not gonna come out and be all friendly and look for you. But if you come in my pathway, I don't have a problem.
No, me still a want to
hello
you.
to you.
I ain't
No.
that good a Christian.
Yeah, me.
No, it's not even a good Christian.
No,
it's
it's not.
simply
You're an adult.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
no. It's not even that. It's just I think it's the way I was raised. I don't know if it's the way I was raised. I don't know what it is. It's just for me. It's a heavy burden for me for me to hold on to anything. Good, bad, or otherwise.
I don't hold it. I let it all go completely.
Yeah, it's hard for me to. So if I can see you and still talk to you. I mean, I don't have any feelings for you.
Good for
I
you.
neither like nor dislike you. I'm ambivalent.
You're a better woman than me.
That makes
That's all I'm gonna
better
say.
one than me.
Better woman than
But as a part of moving forward, I have to tell you that one of the things that saved my life was going to Codependence Anonymous.
No, I didn't know about that.
Me either. Wow.
Expand on this.
Yeah, share.
So CODA helped to save my life.
Okay.
I ended up in CODA because I first went to Alcoholics Anonymous trying to understand him. And then they set me straight and it's like, no, that's not your job.
Wow.
You need to go to Al-Anon, which is the spouse and the partners of alcoholics. I went to Al-Anon and then somebody said, no, you need to go to CODA. And we had just started. They had just started a CODA group. I was in Ocherius at the time. So Codependence Anonymous, and codependency is a huge thing.
Huge.
But in a very short sentence, it's you wanting to please other people, or putting yourself in a position where you will take abuse because the peace, and because you feel sorry for the other person and what the other person is going through. So like in my case, he's an alcoholic. I understood that alcoholism is a disease,
right?
And I used to feel sorry for what he's going through, despite what I was going through.
Who was feeling sorry for you?
Hello. I
So-
don't try to figure out like. Oh.
So
Wow.
I ended up in Codependence Anonymous, which is the same 12 steps as Al-Anon, as Alcoholics
As
Anonymous, as Narcanon. They all use the same
all use
12
the
steps.
same.
It's just that it's 12 steps, and you tailor it to whatever it is you're dealing with.
Yeah, okay.
And there were about 8 of us in that group,
Wow.
and we became really, really, really close because we worked together. The 12 steps. Let me tell you something. I'm a Christian, and I believe in the Bible and praying and all of that. But them 12 steps,
You need to do them.
let me tell you, if you find yourself in a place where you are not in control of your life, whether it's alcohol, codependency, it no matter what, you see them 12 steps? Them 12
They
steps
put it in
change your
face.
life.
Yes.
They change your life, because the first thing you learn is to surrender your power to a higher power, right? And
Key.
going through those 12 steps, and you have to do the whole thing now, and it
to
can
do
take
them.
you a year, it can take you 6 years, it takes
The
you as
rest of
long
your
as it
life.
can take,
Takes as long as it takes.
It takes as long as it takes. But it got me to a place where I could understand that I was not going to be a victim anymore, because I was somebody
Yes.
worth something.
Absolutely.
It got me to a place where I could actually apologize and see how I had victimized other people.
Oh wow.
Yes.
In what way?
Every day we walk around victimizing other people without realizing it.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you think about it,
Wow.
I mean, we criticize people, we take people and put them in classes of people,
boxes.
and say, oh, you know, all of this kind of people stay so, all Nigerians are thief, all Jamaicans are scammer, or we victimize people every
Without even
single
realizing
day.
what we're doing.
Yes,
Wow.
we victimize friends without even realizing it, because we use them sometimes without even realizing
Without
it.
realizing.
So the 12 steps brings you to you,
Awareness more.
to an awareness
yourself
of
to
you.
yourself.
And how that helped me as somebody who was going through abuse was it helped me to bring me in front of me and realize, me, I gotta get out. If I want to save this person that I'm meeting,
You have to get out of
I
this
have to get out.
situation.
And in facing this person that I was meeting, I was also facing all the things that made me who I am. All the issues I had with my father, all the issues I had with my mother,
Oh, this sounds
all
like
the issues I
Landmark.
had with,
Oh, Lord.
yes, it's
Sounds
like
like
Landmark. It's like Landmark,
Yeah.
but more universal,
Okay.
because everybody,
Everybody
12
can
steps
do it.
is everybody,
Is everybody.
and it's all over the world. And you don't have to be, you can just go to a 12-step group anywhere.
Anywhere. Right.
Right. So I wanted to talk about that because I think it's important that, and we're talking to women. It's for men too, but we're talking to women because this
Mostly
is woman to
women.
woman. I think it's important that we work on ourselves
Yes.
Oh yes.
and that we understand that to get to that place where we can escape the abuse, or after we've escaped it, regardless of which stage you are at, it is important to work on yourself. And I mean diligently work on yourself. And I'm a writer. Your audience would know I'm an author. That helped me.
That helps you.
I was able to put my life into a book as fiction, but it's in a book.
course.
And the title of the book was "Here's $100, Buy Yourself a Life," and that title
Wow,
that
I love
title
that.
came up when I
I
was
love
in
it.
Codependence Anonymous, because there was one woman there who the rest of us were working so hard to get out of what we were in and create the life we wanted for ourselves and create the person we wanted to be and we felt we should be. But every week she would come back to meeting with the same complaints, the same issues in the same relationship, and those issues were never going to change, and she was never going to change how she saw the issues.
So then why is she there?
Because you have to change. You can't
Yes,
change
yes.
the other person, so
No,
you
you have to
change
change
you.
you.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what it's about. It's about changing you.
Yeah.
And one day I looked at her and it was probably that time of the
You
month.
were exacerbated.
Yeah,
You were
because-
being exasperated.
Yeah, and it was probably that time of the month, and I couldn't take it anymore. I said, Annabelle, back then $100 was
money.
Was money. I said to her, here's $100, honey. Go buy yourself a life. It was a mean thing
Were
to
you
say.
victimizing
You know what?
Annabelle?
I was. I had to go back and apologize to her.
Yeah.
But you know what though? That at some point in our lives,
You have to face it.
we have to
You have to
get
face
that
yourself.
person that has the balls to stand
tell
up
you.
and tell you this is what you need to do. You know, and yeah, the fact that you went back and apologized to her,
I had to
You meant what you
apologize.
said. You just didn't mean the
just
tone.
the delivery.
Yeah,
the delivery could have been a little bit.
Oh, I usually mean what I say. Usually
Right.
my tone is what I apologize for.
Right. You know, but some of us just go through and we just keep
And make
doing
excuses for ourselves all
The
the time.
definition of insanity, that has been my thing.
Doing the
this
same
year.
thing
Oh,
over and over and expecting different
results.
Insanity and stupidity.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the definition.
so that was what she needed.
Yeah, but they were so.
Did she buy herself a life, by the way?
I don't know because she was much older than the rest of us.
Oh,
Like
dear.
we were all in our 20s,
She was.
and she
dear.
was probably in her 50s, late 50s at
Oh,
the
dear.
time.
She was
And she was and she was also
set in
her
her ways.
partner was probably about 12 years younger than she was, and it was just I think it was just a bad situation. And it was not, there was no physical abuse, which is why I had to mention that. There was no
Doesn't have to be
physical
physical.
abuse. What was happening in her case, this is interesting. So what was happening in her case was she was an older white woman in Jamaica, had money, he was a professional, younger, good looking, sought after by all the women.
Oh, okay.
Um,
He was a hooah.
yeah, but he wasn't necessarily out there, you know. He wasn't necessarily out there. But that fear of losing this prize, you know, she's getting older,
She didn't see
wrinklier,
herself as a
and
prize.
she didn't see herself as a prize. She saw
saw
him
him
as the prize.
Problem.
And so he saw that.
And he
And
took
he-
advantage
and
of
he-
it.
Oh man,
And he used
you
it
know,
to
like
his
he
advantage.
used it to his advantage. So, you know, if she wanted to go somewhere, you know, it was always, what about me? It was always, you can go after you've taken care of me. Or, no, you can't go that place because and he was a well-known professional. I'm keeping the soiree and you have to be here for me. It was always about him.
Him.
And so in her quest not to lose this young guy, this hot young guy, who was, you know, in a good profession, and in Jamaica, where she's an older white lady, in this quest to just keep that relationship and not lose this hot young guy, she would bend over backwards, do backflips, and put herself out completely. And second, she was
Dead
like
last.
dead last. He was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and she was 6 in her life.
Oh no, honey.
And so that's why I had to bring that up, because sometimes again we think of the abuse only as the physical abuse, but that mental abuse,
Oh, that's worse.
that all of
That's
that
hard.
that just you talked about the dark room that you would go and lock yourself
And you
into.
didn't even realize.
And you didn't
realize
realize.
that was
No, I
not
didn't.
normal.
No.
For me, that was.
Yeah, and you lock yourself into a prison.
Yeah, you do.
So she had imprisoned herself.
And no matter what.
She lived in this
said.
beautiful, lovely big house, but we never went there
But
for
what-
drinks. She always met us somewhere else because he
She
didn't want.
anybody to come home.
He didn't want her friends up there. He didn't want them up there
Because he was trying to separate her.
because
from
the
her.
isolation.
The isolation
And, all,
is a
and
key
her
thing.
excuse was, oh, you know, he works hard, and when he comes home, he's
He wants
just
peace and
tired. He just
quiet.
wants peace and quiet. So I'll meet you guys down at the bar.
It's not her house too?
It was her house.
Oh.
Yeah, it was her house. Right? It was her house.
Let me tell you, every
Yeah.
day
Wow.
I am thankful to my parents. God rest my mother's soul. That they instilled in me from a very young age a sense of self, to be assertive, to speak. Even sometimes when I was, you know, kind of pushing it a little bit with what I would say and how I would say it. But they always allowed me to express myself. I had freedom of expression, and I was supported in everything I did. And every day I am thankful to them because I recognize how important that was in making me the person I am and in allowing me to not get into certain situations or where I started to see it or where I felt as if, oh, you don't appreciate who I am. Okay, bye.
Can I tell you though, Janice?
I'm so thankful.
Can I tell you though, a more confident person than me as a teenager you could not find.
You couldn't find.
You could not find.
So that was even so it needs help.
Let me tell you.
Help the situation.
I was the most confident teenager you would ever walk into on the face of the earth and still ended up there. So let me just tell you that it can happen to you. It can happen because it happens when you don't see it.
When you don't see it.
It creeps up on you.
Yes.
It just needs one opening. It just needs for one thing to have happened in your life. And one thing happened in my life that made me question my own judgment. And from that one thing,
it opened the door to
it
everything.
Opened the door. It's like a portal. You just need this one little thing to shake your confidence for just a little bit.
And that's
boom. So don't be too confident.
Not put my guard down.
So let's talk about some solutions though.
Yes, because solutions are important. So ladies, if you're in this situation, whichever kind of abuse it may be, and you feel you need to go, there are resources wherever you are locally. This is an international show, so I don't know where you are. But if you're in Broward County in Florida, Women in Distress, and I believe Women in Distress is a national company, at least in the United States. So there are resources in your state. You may have to run in the middle of the night. There are shelters, overnight shelters that will take you in. So please don't feel that you're ever in a situation where there's nowhere that you can go. There's always somewhere. So what you need to do in your research time, when you're planning and plotting this, because you don't just get up on a whim and go. You have to be planning this strategically because you don't want a situation where you run and end up having to go back. You don't want to have to go back. So planning. There are resources out there. Find out, okay, if I go to the shelter, how long can I stay? What is my limit? Do they allow children? If there are children allowed, how long is that time limit? Find out because they will give you that information. Whether it's Salvation Army, whether Women in Distress, whatever it is, there is an organization somewhere that you can go to. If you have a local church, a local mosque, a local
There's so many nonprofits.
So many nonprofits that are able to take you in. It's I guess probably call it adult foster care. Any kind of home that you could go to. Somebody that will provide an underground railroad. We have somebody here who's her own Harriet. I don't do it anymore. Abused women, but you may have to start again after the show. Who knows? Somebody may call you. Right. Womansnest.com, womansnest@gmail.com. If I get an email, I'm referring it to you. So just get ready. But wherever you are, there are resources. So start reaching out. Reach out to the churches, the temples, the mosques, wherever it is. Find some place that you can go and find out what the parameters are. How long can you stay? If you've been stashing away a little money, I hope that you are, and you have a little account somewhere, or you have some money hidden. Don't hide that money in the house, because an abuser is going to be looking for those kinds of things. So hide it somewhere. Okay, hide it in an account somewhere where only you have access, or you and another family member, somebody that you trust, who will not go in there.
Or give it to a trusted friend, because an abuser will find that bank statement. They'll find the bank statement. They'll find a way to know that you have money somewhere. So make sure you have that one ride or die. And you give that money to that ride or die friend. It can make the difference.
It makes a difference. So you have a way, you have some money you can put your hands on right away, and you can also get out of there and make sure that that person is always going to be there with you. It's important to have friends. Even one. All you need is one good one who is always going to be there for you. Trust me. If it's a sister, wonderful. Sister by blood or sister by heart. However it is, have that one person in your corner who is always going to be there for you. Okay? And you can run to, and who's going to be there to make sure that you're okay. So find the resources in your community. What I will also do is make sure that on womansnest.com that there's a list of resources internationally that you can go to and find a telephone number, call somebody that in an emergency, if you have to run, you have to run. You've got to go. Okay? What else you got, Lisa?
And if you got to run, don't just think you got to run right where you are. I left a whole country. I put a whole ocean and a plane ride between me and the abuser.
Yes.
Okay?
If necessary, do it.
If you gotta if you have to change your identity,
Do it.
change your identity. What it is about is changing your life by saving your life.
Period.
Okay, what I'm saying is you have if you don't save your life, you can't change your
You can't
life.
change it.
So you have to first
To have it,
save
to
your
save
life
it.
and your children's life if your
Correct.
children are involved. Grab them. I
run.
ran at 4 a.m.
Ooh, wow.
4 a.m. And what I knew was that when I had moved in, my girlfriend was living in the house that I was living in. I never told the landlord.
Oh.
So I left her there, and I left some clothes there.
Oh, smart move.
Yeah, I left some clothes there. So when I grabbed my kids under my arm at 4 a.m. and I ran, when I knocked on that door in the morning, and trust me, she wouldn't open that door for him if he had 6 guns. I even destroyed a passport.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
You meant business, girl.
She went hard.
I'm not joking. When it comes to saving your life,
You do what you have to
you
do.
do what you have to do.
I know it's a heavy, heavy topic. We had to take 2 shows to talk about this one, but it was necessary. And even more so, I hope that as a community, we respect individuals who come out and talk about their abuse. Not try to tear them down, just support them. You know, give them whatever they need to get to the next phase of their life, because this is a dark chapter that they want to get past. But you don't help them get past it by dragging them through the mud and by tearing them down, especially us ladies. You know, we have a way to tear our fellow sisters down no matter what they've gone through. Listen, there go I, but for the grace of God. Every single one of us can go through something like this, and every single one of us can become a victim of abuse at some point in time. So that could be you, and how would you want yourself to be treated? That could be your sister. How would you want your sister to be treated? Think about that the next time before you're ready to tear somebody down about what they did to deserve some man hitting on them or treating them badly. Think about that first, okay? But thank you for joining us on this episode of Woman to Woman Kitchen Table Talk, a rough one. This was a rough one for all of us. It was a rough one because I think about my friends who've gone through it. I think about people in the media recently who have gone through things like this. It's just been horrendous. But, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there are solutions, and there is room to grow, and you will heal, and you will get past this, and you'll look past this as a test with your beautiful testimony of how you survived and how you came over like Judith and end up being another victorious. She's not a victim of abuse. She's a victor. She's not a survivor. She is a victor. And you too can be a victor. We call you Victoria and Harriet Tubman at the same time, because she has her own underground railroad for women who've gone through this. No, have. So if you want to email me to find out how to get out, and you need some assistance, I'm gonna pass those emails on to her, because this is going to be another thing that she gets into. She's not leaving this part of the business just because women need their lives saved, and this is going to be her way of giving back. So thank you for joining us. Catch you next time right here on Woman to Woman Kitchen Table Talk. Stay safe.